What's happened to the climate crisis? As well as bombing buildings and sadly killing people in Iran and elsewhere, it looks like the US, Israeli, Iran war has also dropped a bomb on the climate crisis.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you!
Boring. Boring. Boring.
You gotta work. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel. I'm not telling you. Because you're in no position to dictate that. That's exactly what you're doing. You're in no position to dictate what we're gonna feel.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages.
I never tire of seeing that sausages clip. Welcome. I'm Lembit Öpik here on Lembit Öpik Live on unprecedented TV, where we find the facts, kill the spin, and tell it like it is on stories from all over the world. What's been going on in the world of the climate crisis? You may recall that for the last 20 or 30 years, we've been told that the world is warming up. And it's all your fault. Oh, yes, human beings are wrecking the climate. And a little bit like people who think the Earth is at the center of the universe, these individuals will have you believe that the minuscule quantities of carbon dioxide created by the human race are actually driving us to some kind of a global melting scenario. Regular viewers know I think that's utter nonsense. However, there's a new game in town. There's a new kid on the block, and that's called the Israeli-US-Iran war, which seems to have dropped a bomb on any pretense that we can live without oil. Day after day, the very same strangely acquiescent Western media outlets that told you we're all going to burn are now saying, give us more oil, give it more cheaply. So what is going on? Well, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, please do come into the comments as well. You helped us so much yesterday when we had a sound problem. So I very much welcome your views. We wanted to have an expert today on the program to talk about it, but instead we've got Paul Naylor from the Alliance of British Drivers. Paul, good to see you. How are you doing?
A very appropriate introduction.
I couldn't resist it. It's good to see you. I know you're laughing all the way to normality now. A little bit of background. Paul Naylor is one of the people who really does seem to understand the science, the real science, the physics of climate, which is a complicated thing, of course, because it's a dynamic situation. Paul, why is it that after being hectored for 2 or 3 decades about the dangers of oil, every mainstream channel, all the same stations and often all the same people, are now begging for cheap oil? What's going on?
Do you know what I think it really comes down to is the fact that for so many years now, probably the last 7 to 10 years, there's been a voice given to minority groups that have sort of skewed reality. You know, the woke agenda, if you like, to give it an umbrella organization. And what that's done is that the general public have had to almost collectively accept some sort of ideology. Well, now when you get a situation like this, where all of a sudden we can stop being sort of kindergarten kids and coming up with nonsense, and we're having to wake up and realize that oil is important. We're now giving a voice back to what has become effectively the silent majority. And the silent majority, we've all been crying out for common sense for years. And perhaps this could be the turning point.
I'm going to slightly quiz you with some of the pictures today. I reckon you'll get very high marks. Let's start with the first one. Can you tell me what this is?
Oh, that looks like a big ship. Is it an oil? Is that an oil tanker?
Brilliant, bingo! An oil tanker apparently not going through the Strait of Hormuz because it's not on fire. And the whole situation in Iran with US and Israel, and I still suspect Israel dragged the Americans into it unwillingly. But the whole situation is predicated on the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is just 12 miles wide. So these big things are just sitting ducks when they go through. Iran, of course, we won't go into the politics of the war. We don't want to get into that. But it's actually not shut the Strait of Hormuz. It just decides who gets through. It's a gatekeeper. But the West is howling now. Oh, give us some oil. Give us some oil. If you're watching this live instead of in the archive, you may even have heard that America is talking about not sanctioning Iranian oil, so that they can keep it moving. This is the complete volte-face, the 100% opposite of what we've been told. Oh, you've got to cut down your oil production. You'd think that people like Mad Ed Miliband would be delighted that we can't get oil, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
No, it doesn't at all, does it? I mean, rather famously now, in the last week or so, he was on a TV show where he was shown a screen, and then he was bumbling around with his answers as to what his beliefs were regarding oil. It's a wake-up call, isn't it, for all this ideology? Why on earth we're not immediately talking about opening up and drilling off the North Sea is unbelievable. I mean, this should be happening. This should be the ball should be in motion now. Norway has been doing exactly the same for quite some time now, and exporting their products to us. Now, why are we not doing the same?
Exporting the same oil that we could get out ourselves.
Exactly.
It's a ridiculous thing. It's like me refusing to dig into my garden to find oil. So my neighbor digs underneath my garden and sells it to me instead. Yeah. It's absolutely nuts.
And likewise, and likewise, I mean, other crazy situations where we're being asked to embrace windmills and solar panels that aren't produced in this country. They're produced overseas using coal-fired power stations that we are banning, and every other form of energy that we are being told is a slap on the wrist if we even try to use it, is being used by other countries and then exporting the products back to us.
Well, we're lucky to have political giants like Ed Miliband. There he is, coming a cropper with a bacon sandwich. Why is he eating bacon? What's the carbon footprint of that food? Everyone can take a bad shot. He's not the only one, of course. My old party, the Lib Dems, I'm not sure if we can get, in the time available, a picture of Ed Davey. I used to share an office. They've gone off the deep end. Ed Davey and all of them. There he is. There's
going
the
off the deep end.
There's a political colossus. I mean, honestly, this man wants to be prime minister. Okay, keep taking the tablets, pal. With Ed Miliband, it does seem to be all over the place. So does the weather. I've noticed that in Turkey, they've had 2 meters of snow. 2 meters of snow. I was in a meeting with you recently about that. There it is, revenge of nature, it says.
Yeah.
That's Turkey. Now, I think we all tend to assume there isn't any snow in Turkey, but there are high bits. But this is exceptional. It's just stunning. I think it looks nice. It's very disruptive, I suppose. So it's weather. Can you tell us the difference between weather and climate?
Well, yeah. I mean, weather is what sort of happens sort of now. We're living in weather. Climate, I suppose, is the cumulative narrative of what weather does and what weather is. So, if put it this way, if it snowed for 365 days, that would be climate. Okay. If it snows for 1 day, it's snowing. Everybody get your toboggans out. We're off out for a laugh.
Except that when it's cold, it's just cold weather. When it's hot, it's climate change.
I'm sure.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm sure we had a number of people that were jumping all over the fact that we had a couple of warm, sunny days, Wednesday and Thursday. Oh no, it's the end of the world. No, it's the start of spring, you idiot. You know,
this is just looks pretty intense there. It looks like the snow's gone in there. They should have shut the window. This is the thing. When it's cold, it's just weather, and the climate catastrophists have themselves to blame for it. When it's hot, then it's global warming. And And this is the thing that bugs me, and I never cease to test you on this one. Do you know who this is? You must know.
Go on. Who is?
It's Dr. David Viner from the discredited University of East Anglia Climate Research Unit. He's a professor now, apparently.
Yeah.
Back in the year 2000, we've got to put this quote up. I never fail to try to share. There it is. Thank you. They knew it was coming. In 2000, Dr. David Viner of the University of East Anglia's disgraced climatic research unit. I didn't write these words, but I love reading them. Disgraced climatic research unit advised, within a few years, winter snowfall will become a very rare and exciting event. Children just aren't going to know what snow is. And then in this particular case, Britain's meteorological office said this December was almost certain to become the coldest since records began in 1910. I think it was about 10 years ago. The reality is that Dr. David Viner, 26 years ago, said children just aren't going to know what snow is. Yeah. Utter poppycock.
Absolutely.
He's still working, amazingly enough. I don't think I'd employ him. Can you tell what this is? Can you tell what this is?
That looks like a man that's very cold out on a wintry day and there's a bit of snow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know who he is. I was just illustrating the point. I suspect he may be in Scotland, but the fact is, it's cold out there. And I'm not sure if you've been watching, but recently, the most recent headline says, this is actually, I think, from today, UK snow maps show storm bringing 6 inches and cities as far south as London hit. Leaving aside the fact that I thought it was a criminal offence to use imperial measures now. Shocking new weather forecast map suggests snow could fall across the UK before the end of this month as major cities, including London and Birmingham, appear to be impacted. I would love that because my children do know what snow is, but it's all about where the direction of the wind is. Yeah. And if it comes down from the Arctic, it can bring a whole load of snow. Now, so we know for a fact, Dr. David Viner, who worked at the time at the University of East Anglia's genuinely discredited climatic research unit because they looked like they were faking data. It's unforgivable that they seem to be completely wrong. How could they have been so wrong, Mr. Naylor?
Well, they're probably quite clearly using measurements that aren't fit for purpose. I don't know about yourself, but quite recently we had a little bit of snow here, and it was one of those situations on the run up to it where people started panicking. People were saying, well, I'm not going to be in work tomorrow because there's going to be a lot of snow about. The conditions aren't going to be not conducive to driving. And the shelves in Tesco, it looked like COVID times again. You know, everything that you would expect to disappear disappeared. What did
toilet roll? Toilet
roll's gone. Toilet roll had bogged off.
You've used that before.
But these things that. Yes, we had some snow, and yes, me and the wife went for a lovely walk in the snow as it was coming down, and about 3 inches deep on the floor, no more than that. And then the next day, you woke up, and whilst there was a little bit still around, it had mostly melted. We're obsessed by the weather in this country, and we're even more obsessed with the climate, and that's wrong.
Stay with me. You're watching me, Lembit Öpik, with Paul Naylor from the Alliance for British Drivers, talking about the strange death of the climate emergency. Before we go further, especially if you're watching this live, another great episode of Tin Scott Uncancelled will be going out. We usually do that 10 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time on a Saturday and other times during the week as well. Take a look at this. Great guy, Tim Scott. In fact, I had lunch with him this week. Thank you for paying, Tim, as we were planning something very big on a global basis. And that isn't to do with chemtrails either, Paul Naylor. The story so far, though, we're talking about the strange death of the climate emergency. This is actually a great headline once again from a couple of weeks ago. Decarbonisation and climate change hysteria died this winter. Last month, President Trump ended the left's efforts to decarbonise the United States. Notice the massive protests in the streets, or any protests? Me neither. This is the point. Sensible people, as it says here, didn't care. It was back to common sense.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the nail on the head, isn't it? What's happening is common sense is having a little bit of a revolution at last. It's let's face it, it's about time. And it's not just on this; it's on all the crazy ideological nonsense that's been going on for the last decade or so. People are finally saying enough. You know, let's just get on with our lives and just put all this stuff into history books and let's move on.
One person isn't saying that. Dr. David Viner from the discredited Climatic Research Unit at the University of East Anglia 26 years ago said children just aren't going to know what snow is. If only, I'm going to get David Viner on the show. I need to give him a right to reply. That would be great. So while he's saying children just aren't going to know what snow is, America's dramatic Arctic siege.
Yeah.
America's had a huge amount of snow.
It has. But does that mean it's going to happen every year? Probably not. You know, it's just one of those things that every now and then happens. You and I are of a similar vintage. You must remember, I think it was 82. There was a really bad winter.
83, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, 83. And I can remember walking to school with my wellies on and then the snow coming in over the top of the wellies. Did we moan about it? No. Was there anything in the news to this extent? No. Because
yes, you're wrong. In the 1970s, we were told we were heading for an ice age. Don't you remember that?
Yeah, but I don't remember it. I don't remember it taking over people's lives, though. It didn't seem to be this sort of constant doom and gloom. It was sort of like,
there was one person who wasn't predicting an ice age. Dr. David Viner from the discredited University. I probably milked that one as much as I can. But the fact is, back into if you put the American one, they've had, I was in America, I was in Washington a few weeks ago, -8. And it was just really intense. And people were getting on. It was quite quiet, actually. People don't like to go out in the cold there. And also there was some government lockdown at the time. But the place survived and the stuff melted. Interestingly enough, they went to the trouble of having huge, big tipper trucks to take the snow away. It was it seemed to be a little bit unnecessary, but they just managed and it went on with it. So I'm wondering then, why is it that when we do have stories like this, there's another one. This is a today's headline if you're watching this live. The snow maps show UK buried in 30 hours of blizzards, 18 cities hit. The latest weather forecast maps suggest up to 18 major UK cities could see snowfall, but they don't then suggest that this is climate change. They say that it's just weather. Is it actually? I would say, I think that the climate agenda is falling to bits now. I just don't think people believe it. And couple that to what's going on in the Iran war, where everyone's fretting about the cost of oil and gas. It seems to me, I can't see how they can restart the fear.
No, I think the reaction at the pumps has been one of potentially greed. You know, it's like anything, isn't it? Prices will rocket, but then fall like a feather.
Howard Cox. Oh, our friend Howard Cox. Prices go up like a rocket, come down like a feather. I met him on Tuesday, and he said it wasn't actually his phrase, but he popularized it in the United Kingdom. And that's right. And people go on.
I was just going to say it's a very good way of looking at things. It perfectly shows what happens with supply and demand. Prices will suddenly go up and will take a long time to come back down again, and for no apparent reason. But this panic buying that this whole situation is causing at the pumps, there's people out there that they might only do a tank full of petrol every 2 months. And yet they've got half a tank, but they're going and queuing up to get their petrol. You're thinking, well, show some common sense on this. Again, common sense. That's that's what we're basically about, isn't it? It's common sense.
The Alliance of British Drivers. Just tell us about that for a minute.
So the Alliance of British Drivers, you can find us at abd.org.uk, and we are effectively campaigning on behalf of the 30-odd million drivers in the UK on their behalf against all sorts of things that affect the ability of free movement. So from your road conditions, obviously everywhere's littered with potholes these days, to ULEZ zones, and certainly to the prices at the pump. And we are big advocates of Howard and what he does with Fair Fuel UK. So anything really that is sort of preventing motorists from enjoying their day-to-day lives and being able to get from A to B rather than A to A.5 and recharging a battery for 2 hours and then going on to B, then that's what we're all about. So it's important that people connect with us and help us to spread the word.
A bit of a selfless promotion there. And while we're at it, you've got Full Throttle, which is a regular show here on Unprecedented TV. And you've got Howard Cox coming on. If you're watching this live, he'll be on soon. Yep. If you're watching this in the archive, you'll find Howard Cox in the archive, I think, from
so if you're watching us now on the 20th, I'm actually recording with Howard in about 3 hours' time. Yes, what he has to say regarding the prices at the pump and the whole situation with the US, Israel, and Iran will be very interesting, and I think something that people will must engage with, must have a watch of, and I'm sure that we will hear more about it in the press as well.
Last thing, California is an object lesson in what can go wrong. When you let ideology take over. New York Post says, desperate California importing oil from Bahamas using century-old loophole of state faces highest US gas prices. California is increasingly importing gasoline through the Bahamas, a workaround to 106-year-old US shipping law that forces domestic fuel shipments onto costly American vessels. Apparently, as far as I understand it, California had this balmy idea that they'd go green, but now it's not working. They've got blackouts. So they have to import oil in a really silly way. Yeah. So it doesn't seem to be working.
I don't know whether the blackout that we had here, where I live, on the fringes of Stoke-on-Trent. I always say the fringes. And we had a power outage probably about this time last week, and that went on for about 2 or 3 hours. That was inconvenience and probably put down to high winds or whatever, heavy rain. For that to become a regular thing, which is what's being mooted because of all this green nonsense, that in itself was inconvenient. If that was to happen on a regular basis, well, it's not something I even want to contemplate.
Well, the weather can change suddenly and cause unexpected results. Here's one we prepared earlier on. It's that same guy that you saw earlier on. So
he wants to get indoors, doesn't he? Get him indoors.
Yeah, like what's he called? Olaf in Frozen. My kids love Frozen. Who wants to go on a summer holiday? Slightly missing the point. There we go. What is your message then to our viewers about this? And should they be afraid? Before you go into that, David's catch 9056 says, apparently, according to Radio 4's Today program, it was the warmest day of the week a few days ago. Warmest day of the week. There we go. Don't tell my mate. Don't tell my mate.
I think the big thing to take away from all this is that the silent majority are apparently not willing to be silent any longer, and I think because of that, I think the media are reacting to it, and they're starting. It's going to be a bit like turning the Titanic around, but they are starting to get on board with the fact that common sense is back, and that all this nonsense that's been going on for so many years now will be reversed in terms of how it's reported, and what has essentially been propaganda, if you want to call it that, is going to be put on the shelf and consigned to the history books.
They're trying to turn the camera so you can see out the window here of my London studio. I think they've done that. There we are. Yeah. They're having fun today. You bring out the devil in the team.
I tell you, you've got a bigger garden than I remember.
It's a wide angle lens. So thank you so much, Paul. Always a pleasure to talk with you. That is Paul Naylor. I do tend to think that the climate emergency will not be able to recover from what's going on now, because we're more concerned about the price of oil than the consequences of it. From my point of view, it's about time. I do believe there's going to be a global cooling. Perhaps we're in it already. One thing's for sure, the minuscule contribution made by human beings towards carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is barely measurable. If it's going to get warmer, it's going to get warmer. If it's going to get colder, there's nothing we can do about it. So wrap up warm, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to quote Bill Murray from Groundhog Day. He says something like, it's going to be cold, it's going to be grey, and it's going to last for the rest of your life. It's not going to do that. Spring is coming, but not before another cold snap. You heard it first here on Lembit Öpik Live with me, Lembit Öpik, on Unprecedented TV. Have a warm day, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the sausages.